Bola Tinubu has arrived in Lagos, where he plans to spend the Christmas and New Year break. The president, who departed Abuja at about 3 p.m. earlier today, landed in Lagos and was received by a delegation of federal and state officials. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports that this is the second time the president would visit his home state since assumption of office. He is expected back in Abuja in January 2024. Well, NTA State House correspondent Musbah Wahab is among the president's entourage, and he joins us with an update on the president's itinerary during his planned Christmas and New Year break in Lagos. Well, Musbah, the president is back home, and from the rousing welcome we saw him receive on arrival, it's obvious that people are excited to see him. But then, how is his schedule looking like at the moment, knowing this is supposed to be a break? Is it likely to transform into a working break?
Yes, sir, you're very correct. It was a homecoming for the president, and of course, call it the return of the city boy.
Musbah, can you still hear us? We're losing signals there. Right. I seem to have lost the signals there. Musbah in Lagos, all ready to give us the president's itinerary. He's back home for the Christmas break in Lagos. And we're looking forward to getting to know if this eventually... Right, Musbah, you're back? Okay, let's hear you, okay?
Yes, sir, right. You're very correct. This is homecoming for the president, and you can actually call it the return of the city boy back to his state. Remember, the first time he came to Lagos was barely a month into his administration, and this is the second time we'll be coming. And that's was really shown at the airport, at the presidential wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport here in Lagos. People came led by the state governor himself, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to receive the president. We're talking of someone who's been a senator from this state and a governor, governing the state for 8 years, and he remained relevant afterwards, like 1.5 decades after governing the state and before becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this time, the people really were waiting to see the president come home again. And yet they came to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, though not all of them could enter the presidential wing. But from what we saw outside the gates, everyone wanted to have a feel of the president. And
all right, okay. Well, I seem to have lost the signals again from Musbah, but well, on a parting shot, let's just say thank you so much, Musbah. Okay, you're back again. Well, okay, you were just round off, right?
Not so much has been put out yet by the Presidential Information Department, but as far as we know, this is more likely to be a working break for the president. Remember, this is someone who is not so relaxed. It doesn't like to see things happen. It makes things happen by himself. You may call it a break, but it's going to be a working one. We cannot rule out consultation, and of course, he's going to keep tab on happenings as far as governance is concerned, and we will have to see him reunite with his immediate family and, of course, family members from his political party right here. It will be time for consultation again. And, of course, people will be coming to visit him on this break as the president has come back home. And just a few days to come, the schedule will become clearer, and we'll be keeping you up to date as things unfold right here in Lagos.
All right, thank you, Musbah. I suppose that also translates to meaning you would be having a working holiday as well. Thank you for the update. And from the National Assembly, we hear the Senate is accelerating the process for the passage of the 21.8 trillion naira 2023 Appropriation Act Amendment Bill by taking the first, second and third reading. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that similar consideration was extended to the 2.176 trillion naira 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act Amendment Bill.
The amendments made provisions for extended implementation of the capital components of the two budgets from 31st December 2023 to 31st March 2024.
In view of the critical importance of some key projects nearing completion, it is expedient to grant extension of the expiration clause to avoid compounding the problems of abandoned projects, given that some of the projects were not provided for in the 2024 budget. Hence, the need to extend the implementation year.
Senate has confirmed the appointment of 11 justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, as recommended by the Senate Committee on Judiciary.
The nominees individually and collectively demonstrated sufficient knowledge and firm grasp of the law and other topical, contemporary and jurisprudential issues.
They are well qualified. They do not have any negative thing to be attached to each and every one of them.
I want to thank the President of Federal Republic. Like Southeast, we were left for almost 7 years without a judge in the Supreme Court. Entire Southeast.
For the first time, we have a Supreme Court justice from Plateau State. Justice Sankey.
The burden will be less, far less actually, if they have more resources to work with. We can do something. Let's try it from this budget.
I want to commend the President for even nominating this number of appointees into the Supreme Court for the first time.
Also confirmed is the appointment of Saidat Olainka as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission. Senate has passed the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act Amendment Bill. Meanwhile, plenary has been adjourned to 29th December 2023 as the lawmakers continue working to ensure the passage of the 2024 budget before the end of the month. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has passed two amendment bills. First is the Appropriations Act 2023 Amendment Bill, and the second is the Supplementary Appropriations Act Amendment Bill 2023. The House also extended implementation timeline from December 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ipen reports on this and other deliberations at today's plenary.
Plus one.
The executive bills to extend the 2023 Appropriations Act received expeditious attention at the Committee on Supply.
To extend the implementation year from 31st December 2023 to March 31st, 2024, read and pass.
The House passed 10 other bills, including the Southeast Development Commission Establishment Bill. Two motions to address challenges in tertiary education were adopted, with lawmakers calling on the ivory towers to consider accepting tuition fees per semester from students.
International universities, including the University of California, University of Sydney, recently implemented the semester-based fee payment system to minimize the financial strain on the students and the parents.
To urge the National Universities Commission, NUC,
to collaborate with tertiary institutions to develop a curriculum that aligns with graduates, workplace performance, and national development.
In other motions, the House urged the National Emergency Management Agency to attend to victims of flooding and erosion in parts of the country.
The landslide from the coastal erosion originating from the Koli River have submerged buildings, churches, farmland, control ravaging erosion and flood in Olo, Osu, and Oru East Federal Constituency.
The House has adjourned plenary to reconvene on the 30th of December 2023 for passage of the 2024 Appropriation Bill. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And now some exciting news for Nigeria's oil and gas sector, as Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil, Henikin Lopobiri, and his colleague, Minister of State Petroleum Resources Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, are both optimistic about the resumption of operations at Nigeria's biggest public-owned refinery in Port Harcourt. This follows the mechanical completion and flare start-off at the Port Harcourt refinery, sparking renewed hope that production may likely commence after the Christmas break. An electronic device that detects gas leakages through printed circuit boards has been inaugurated under a support program by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. Elizabeth Omori reports that the device is to prevent the hazards posed by gas leakages at homes and industrial facilities where gas is used for production.
This innovative idea to save lives and property was conceived 5 years ago. Today, it is a reality to drive economic growth. The factory, which is the first of its kind in West Africa, signifies a critical milestone in Nigeria's journey to technological advancement. Founder Amal Technologies Limited, Shehu Tijani Abdullahi, describes this concept as a game changer in the technology space.
This is a device that when you place it in your kitchen, if there's any leakage, it detects the early signs of those leakages, and then it will send you an SMS to your mobile phone, call your mobile phone if the intensity of the gas is getting high. Then you have another device to place on the gas cylinder, which automatically shuts it off.
The device, known as Amal Aerial, is expected to reduce dependence on import of smart devices and electronic equipment. The production facility, which will focus on circuit belts and embedded systems, key actors in critical sectors of the economy, say is a commitment to bridging the gaps in technology development.
It is through industrialization that a lot of multiplier effect is added to the economy in terms of diversification, employment generation.
The deployment of the flagship Amal technology gas leak detection device provides a significant safety tool that will accelerate the adoption of gas.
The industry should expect more startup companies, research and innovation breakthrough under my leadership. I will look forward to working more with Amal technology for more inventions.
NCDMB is optimistic that the facility will serve as catalyst to stimulate innovation and reduce carbon footprints of electronic devices while contributing to a greener future. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
We'll take a short break now. The news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, is canvassing support for the federal government, explaining that reforms initiated by President Tinubu across the various sectors are sowing the seeds of transformative change in Nigeria. Salihu Gwenara reports that this was at the end of year 2023 World Press Conference held in Abuja.
It was a platform for the government image maker to roll out federal government scorecard within 7 months.
Now there's a very important one also, number 3 here, that Nigerians need to really know about, and that is the Fulako initiative. This is an initiative that the federal government of Nigeria has put in place to build houses, clinics, schools, veterinary hospitals, empowerment initiatives, solar energy provision, and other infrastructure needs. It will be available in many areas that are hit by banditry and social unrest, the ones that are most hit. And the states are Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina, Kaduna, Niger, and Benue states. I want to also say that government will also put that in place in Chudumbiri in Kaduna state, where the recent bomb mishap just occurred.
The 8-point agenda anchored on renewed hope, he assured, is steadily being implemented.
The 2023 supplementary budget of 2.176 trillion and the 2024 budget of 27.5 trillion, the administration's first full-year budget presented to the National Assembly by the President, both echoed the core tenets of the renewed hope agenda and serve as pivotal steps towards realizing the ambitious and the transformative objectives of the renewed hope agenda. The launch of the National Philanthropy Office, NPO. This office is established to mobilize $200 million in private investments on behalf of the federal government to support MSMEs in Nigeria.
He urged Nigerians to embrace the spirit of hope as the nation is on a steady move towards a sustainable future. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the appeal filed by Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf to a later date. Abba Kabir Yusuf is challenging the decisions of the lower courts that nullified his election as governor. Delia Tumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
One panel of justices hearing the appeal of the Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf and the NNPP is headed by Justice John Iyang Okoro. The appellants are challenging the concurrent verdicts of the Kano State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and that of the Court of Appeal, Abuja Division. Two issues which Supreme Court has to decide in this matter are membership and sponsorship of the Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf by the NNPP and the legality of the cancellation of 165,616 ballots. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, through his counsel, Wole Olanipekun SAN, urged the Apex Court to allow the appeal by carrying out substantial justice on the matter. Counsel to NNPP Boyega Umolo SAN questioned the power of the tribunal to recount the ballot papers dumped on it by the petitioner in its chambers. INEC counsel Abubakar Mahmood SAN urged the court to uphold the appeal. Counsel to the APC in the matter Akinolujimi SAN, who raised preliminary objection against the appeal, urged the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal for lacking in merit. The lower courts, in their separate verdicts, affirmed Yusuf Gawuna of the APC as the duly elected governor of Kano State. The panel also heard the appeal of the APC and its candidate Sadiq Abubakar challenging the victory of Governor Bala Mohammed in the March 18 governorship election in Bauchi State. Both the tribunal and the Court of Appeal affirmed the declaration and return of Bala Mohammed as governor.
Substance of our appeal and the novelty of the issues that we are canvassing, and we believe that the outcome is going to assist the jurisprudence of electoral law and also assuage our clients' feeling of injustice at the election.
We believe in the integrity and the impartiality of the Nigerian judiciary. The judgment is reserved.
Since election matters are time-bound, the Supreme Court is expected to deliver its verdict on both appeals between now and January 14, 2024. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Now, what otherwise may have been a bleak festive season for vulnerable senior citizens in the country may as well have turned into a bumper Christmas and New Year celebration for them, as Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flags off the elderly support scheme of her Project Renewed Hope initiative. Flagging off the scheme at the Armed Forces Officers' Mess in Abuja, the First Lady says the welfare of the aged is a key area of priority for the Tinubu administration. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that under the intervention, a total of 9,500 beneficiaries received a sum of 100,000 naira each.
It is days away from Christmas this year, yet the celebrations have begun already for these senior citizens in the country. The goal of Renewed Hope Initiative, the pet project of Nigeria's First Lady, is to provide them with better days ahead, starting with the disbursement of a sum of 100,000 naira each to the beneficiaries. Out of a total number of 9,500 from across the country, 250 beneficiaries drawn from retired members of the armed forces and their families received their cash gift from Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, at the Armed Forces Officers' Mess in Abuja. She says the Yuletide season should be a time of joy and comfort for all, even as the citizens hope for a greater and prosperous country.
By reaching out to the elderly this festive period, we not only honor their contributions, but also acknowledge the unique encounters they faced. I urge you to embrace life to the fullest. Prioritize your health, nurture your minds, and strengthen your bonds with loved ones and with God.
For the armed forces community, her gesture of catering to the well-being of retirees is noble, and as such will have a multiplier effect on the morale of serving members of the armed forces.
He's been doing this all this while, and as I speak to you, this program we are holding here is all over the 36 states of Nigeria, including FCT.
This noble act, once again, by Her Excellency, is one for which you will be remembered dearly, and posterity will judge you fairly.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently declared that health is back on the front burner of his administration. He meant every word of it. Here outside the hall, and courtesy of Renewed Hope Initiative, the medical challenge of senior citizens in Nigeria have been taken care of.
This one, because once you trigger the engine, all will pump your eye. So that's the cause of my problem. And I've get what my eye need today.
Pray my healing today. Say God bless her.
The disbursement is part of efforts to change the narrative in the condition of the vulnerables in the country by the First Lady, who was at the same venue barely a month ago to give 250,000 naira to 1,709 wives and children of fallen soldiers from the Armed Forces Officers' Mess in Abuja. Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, succor also came the way of more elderly persons in several other states, with many receiving cash support and free medical services, courtesy of the First Lady's Social Support Initiative. Ruth Aguele has a compilation.
In the spirit of the season and as part of commitment of the Renewed Hope Initiative of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Awal Salisu reports that in Kano, senior citizens were empowered with cash gifts and free medical care.
I urge you to make good utilization of the package.
We just go and enter market now, buy soya beans, buy rice and drinks in my shop.
Similarly, in Birnin Kebbi, the gesture was replicated. Hassana Abubakar Koko reports that 250 vulnerable elderly persons were reached.
A total sum of 950 million naira will be disbursed as approved by the governing board of the Renewed Hope Initiative.
The elderly in Jigawa State also benefited from the benevolence of the First Lady. Mohammed Musa Askira reports that beneficiaries were elated for the gesture.
So we thank the wife of Mr. President based on what he gave to the people of Jigawa State.
A unique database for the elders in Jigawa State in order for us to sustain the continuity of this elderly support scheme.
In Gombe State, Abbas Mekano reports that senior citizens who receive financial support expressed gratitude.
I will first of all clear all my debts, and I will use the remaining balance for other domestic demands.
Of her large heart, she arranged this 100,000 each to 250 elderly persons. That's something great.
Senior citizens in Niger State were also not left out. Fatima Ali reports that beneficiaries of the elderly support scheme were encouraged to utilize the funds.
And I pray that God will continue
to bless them, lead them aright.
Beyond the Yuletide season, the gesture is expected to be sustained in a bid to renew the hope of Nigerians. Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
We link up now with Hingino John Adams in Lagos for more reports on network news. Hingino.
Cyril. Lagos residents have continued to lament the scarcity of cash in automated teller machines and inside the banking halls, which bank customers say the sum of 50,000 naira is the maximum amount of withdrawal across the counter. Amaka O, who went round town, has this.
As preparations for the festive season gradually gets to its peak, there is usually an increase in trading of consumer goods and several edible items. However, the physical legal tender, which serves as a medium of exchange that fast-tracks transactions, seems to be unavailable to bank customers.
I branched three banks, no cash in their machine. I branched 2 POS. No, the lady said there was no cash. No cash, you can't withdraw. No little. I said, what are you doing here then? I have to drive all the way from there to here. Luckily, before I got here, I saw one of the security. I asked him. He said, yes, they have cash. Let me just try. Luckily, this is the only amount the machine can give me, 20,000. And I want to withdraw 50,000 for something very important.
One of the ATM machines, I went to withdraw and there's no cash at all.
Nigeria economy, it is still relatively a cash-based economy. And currently now, this is festive period. A lot of Nigerians will need physical cash to carry out their daily business activity, doing their buying and selling and all whatnot. So at this point in time, we have to be very, very careful. Because if we did not nip this, menace in the bud on time, it's going to lead to higher inflation.
Some Lagosians say the option of using the point-of-sale machine, POS, which requires using money to buy money, is the only alternative. Also, considering that poor network sometimes affects the use of bank apps. Abdul Salami Sani is a POS operator. He says he is also affected by the scarcity of cash, which he readily makes available to his customers.
They see cash because I get the people, they say some market somewhere, you can gather, give me, make it do my own other business. I'm at the bank, give me the cash.
It is the expectations of Lagosians that the authorities concerned issue directives to deposit money banks to ameliorate the situation in Lagos. Amaka O, NTA News.
As the price of cooking gas continues to increase, the federal government and other stakeholders in the oil and gas sector say initiative geared towards ensuring availability and affordability of gas will soon begin to yield the desired results. Joel Popola reports that the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas is working to address issues around the gas value chain.
Nigeria has abundance of gas resources enough to address all the teething energy problems of the country, especially the liquefied petroleum gas, popularly called cooking gas, which has been witnessing astronomical price increase in recent times. Experts attribute the development to interplay of various market forces, including foreign exchange issues. The federal government is not oblivious of the challenges, and decisive steps are being mapped out to address it.
It's an interplay of various market forces, but there are currently initiatives and engagements happening, and we are hopeful with all these engagements, the prices will moderate and come down very soon.
The intention is to continue to ensure affordability, to ensure that we drive domestic gas demands by bringing policies that make this affordable, make this possible for all Nigerians.
To achieve sufficiency in gas production, there is need for a paradigm shift to improve local capacity in gas production and move away from importation, which stakeholders believe will prune down the price of gas.
We have to look at the problem holistically. LPG, we really don't produce any.
So if you want to solve the problem holistically, you have to look at starting to produce it. And that's what we are looking to do.
With cooking gas currently in high demand, a slashing price of gas will no doubt positively impact the lives of Nigerians. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
That's it from here. Network News continues after this timeout. Do stay.
Time now to take a quick peek at the world of business with Benny Adams.
Thank you and welcome to Business. The House of Representatives on Thursday warned the point-of-sales operators in the country to stop selling Naira notes and remove excessive charges to customers nationwide as a matter of immediacy. This is even as the House mandated the Committees on Banking Regulations and Digital Electronic Banking to invite Minister of Finance and National Planning and the Central Bank Governor to explain why commercial banks are not paying customers over the counter and the ATMs. The resolution followed adoption of a motion titled "Need to Cap the Sale of Naira Notes by the Point-of-Sales Operators in Nigeria," moved by Honorable Mohammed Dan Abushehu. The House urged CBN to immediately commence proper monitoring and supervision of commercial banks' activities daily to ascertain the extent of counterpayment to customers, noting that the POS machine was invented and produced to alleviate the financial transaction hookups.
Naira goes for 4,000 Naira. Those posing concern among the citizens who are currently experiencing economic hardship.
Now, Zambia is following Nigeria's footsteps in ensuring proper data for its mining sector. This is as stakeholders gather to review the draft strategy for the actualization of the 3 million metric tons of copper in a decade. Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabuswe says Zambia produces more copper than what is recorded, and the move for accurate data signifies government's commitment to boost Zambia's copper production.
Government aspirations to reinstate the necessary confidence in the growth of the mining industry, which remains a key pillar for Zambia's economic transformation agenda.
And now taking a look at the markets. The oil share index crosses 74,000 mark as stock market rally continues, recording a 1.21% increase, with equities value rising further by 488 billion naira. A total of 760.9 million shares in 7,990 deals, corresponding to a market value of 13.26 billion naira, were traded. Data shows 37% improvement in volume, 2% improvement in turnover, and 1% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization is 40.7 trillion naira. Abbey Mortgage Bank recorded the highest volume of 224 million traded shares, followed by Access Holdings 65.8 million and Transcorp Nigeria 65.3 million. That is business news. Network News continues.
Thank you, Benny. In other news, we hear that the school feeding program for basic education pupils across Nigeria will now be handled by the Federal Ministry of Education, while approval has also been granted for transnational education in the country. Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, disclosed this at a one-day retreat on ministerial deliverables between 2023 and 2027. Abdullahi Suleja reports.
Various sectors of social economic lives are given attention for a turnaround under the Renewed Hope agenda of the federal government. Education Ministry is addressing the issues affecting the sector with a view to revamping them. Such issues as the high number of out-of-school children, finding solutions to incessant strike at the tertiary institutions, and teachers training, among others.
We would work towards returning 15 million or more out-of-school children back to the classrooms by the year 2027.
We must take all this seriously so that each one will know its responsibility, expectations, and know the footsteps we are going to follow so that we can all walk the talk together.
Agencies and parastatals under the ministry have been given marching order to ensure compliance to all directives for total overhaul of the sector. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Well, earlier we told you about the good news from the Port Harcourt refinery, which may commence production after Christmas. Well, let's get some more clarifications from Lydia Sampson, who joins me now in the studio. Lydia, good to see you. I'm sure the ministers, both ministers of petroleum, and of course the whole industry are excited about what's happening in Port Harcourt. But just tell us, how does a mechanical completion and flare start-off impact the eventual resumption of crude oil refining at the Port Harcourt refinery?
Thank you very much. Mechanical completion and flare startup is, I will explain as I understand it as a reporter, is just about replacing the damaged or worn out pipelines and components of the refinery. And in the past that we've been talking about rehabilitation of the refinery, it wasn't up to that stage because most of the time it was contracted out. What they did differently this time around is to bring in the original equipment manufacturers who were asked to come produce and check and install the worn out pipelines and then hand over. It's not Uhuru yet, but of course what has happened is that it's a key component signifying the start-off of the refinery. And that is why people around the community, when they saw the flare, because the flare comes after the mechanical completion, that is to try and, pass some crude oil through the fitted and new components and the pipelines to check for leakages and calibration to be sure that the fitted pipelines are working properly. And so people who were used to seeing refineries work in the past just saw a flare startup and were excited that production had started. But actually, it's a key component. Yes, it will impact that. It's just like your car starting when you've set a new engine. But of course, you test run. But in the oil and gas sector, I don't know why they don't use the word test run, because perhaps they are still calibrating and checking. Hopefully, it's a good one because we've come this far.
Right, thank you very much, Lydia. I suppose for ordinary, regular folks, all they're looking out for is to get refining take place there. And, well, let's keep our fingers crossed. It will happen after Christmas. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take another break now. Stay with us. Truck drivers and other road users who ply the 9th mile Opi-Obolo-Afo-Makurdi highway say they're gradually hitting their target destinations on time due to the ongoing rehabilitation of the road by the Federal Ministry of Works. The grading and filling of potholes along the highway, according to motorists, is a welcome development as it is easing the rigors experienced before now. Chair Gonu Aro has an update on the road rehabilitation project.
In the rainy season, the 9th mile Opi-Nsukka-Makurdi highway was a death trap. Motorists, especially articulated vehicles drivers, spent days on end maneuvering through the gullies in the middle of the highways. However, the story seems to be a different one, as the dry season gave room for repairs, grading, and filling up of gullies. This was made possible by the Federal Ministry of Works.
This road, a month ago, it was impassable, and there was a video circulating on social media of the impassable nature of the road. The Honorable Minister of Works got wind of what was going on, so he gave a marching order.
We are managing the roads, not that the roads is enjoyable.
Before the intervention of the federal government in this road, it is a mess. I'm sure that is affecting the economy of this country.
Motorists and shop owners along the highway are advocating a better and more lasting intervention.
Today is manageable now because they have filled it. Before it's no going area. It's the old road we are following, and that old road sometimes we are staying 3 days, 4 days on the way.
The Christmas and New Year season will no doubt attract heavy vehicular movement on this highway as the gateway to the north, west, and the south of Nigeria. In Enugu, Chiegono Aro, NTA News.
Now for a beat on sports.
Bendel Insurance secured a